Modern discoveries in the fields of quantum physics, biophysics, and magnetobiology have proven we live in a quantum holographic universe that is created by the fluctuating oscillations of the planets that are constantly orbiting our plane of existence. It is through these layered waveforms of sound and light that creates our material quantum holographic world. All physical matter, everything we have around us, is actually the result of frequency. Sound is the basis of form and shape. Our human organism is initially created from sound. Our physical reality is not physical at all, but made up of solidified light structures informed by sound. What seems solid is really a wave, and this wave is composed of quantum particles that are constantly moving, yet are structured and enclosed by acoustic waves. Even a still form is created by vibrations, moving patterns, or sound in visible form. Quantum physics has discovered that the entire universe and the human body are made up of subatomic particles of light vibrating at certain frequencies and joined together by magnetic forces. Modern science is now able to validate astrology, explaining as to how our bodies and, most importantly, our consciousness is affected by the frequencies emitted by the planets and constellations in our universe. NASA has found each and every one of the planets in our solar system emits a frequency, acting as a celestial orchestra. And the combination between these orbiting planetary frequencies singing over this vastless sea of electromagnetism, or atoms deemed space, ultimately creates our quantum holographic hydrosonic reality. These celestial photons have been determined to not only have consciousness, but are responsible for our own individual consciousness as they are converted to photons. Hermes Romain discovered that photons, which comprise our individual electric and magnetic fields, not only have consciousness, but also are responsible for our own consciousness. It is these celestial photons that create our consciousness, disproving the older theory that it is our brain chemistry that does so. These celestial photons are received by the cells of our brain, constantly deemed neurophotons. Your brain receives these neurophotons through your DNA helix of your cells, converting them into photons. These celestial photons are received by the double helix of our DNA, which are then converted into photons. Physicist Richard Alan Miller found that coherent waves in cells interact and form patterns first through sound and secondly light. Russian physicists Peter Gurdjieff and Vladimir Poponin demonstrated that chromosomes work like holographic biocomputers, using the DNA's own electromagnetic radiation to generate and interpret spiraling waves of sound and light that run up and down the DNA ladder. The academic paper entitled The Infrared Frequencies of DNA Basis as Science and Art by Dr. David Deamer and Susan Alexander found that the 4 nucleotides that make up the genetic text of our DNA actually have corresponding frequencies, further supporting that before our nucleotides are proteins and amino acids, they originally start as photons. What this infers is that human beings are quantum hydrosonic light beings. Biophysics has proven that not only do cells within our body receive and emit sound and light codes, but require them in order to function. Biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp has proven that our DNA is a liquid crystal superconductor of sound and light, which requires light to regulate cell function. Our DNA receives and emits photons that are able to cross galaxies at the speed of light, and this light is filled with information that instructs our genetic codes and tells our cells what to do, thus programming our consciousness. It has long been known that the brain produces and uses electricity. However, quantum physics now details as to how the brain functions as a quantum computer, as our consciousness is dictated by the neural photons received by the celestial photons that are converted into light via the DNA helix of our brain cells, which are transported at the quantum level. Physicists Christoph Simon and Jack Tuzinski have proven the brain functions similar to a fiber optic network that uses axons in the brain to transmit photon communication that ultimately creates our consciousness. Roger Penrose states that microtubules are the medium in which quantum mechanics takes place. Thus, quantum physics can now explain how and why our emotions and states of consciousness are directly influenced by celestial frequencies, influencing our brain, which produce the various biochemicals distributed by our nervous system, specifically through one's 8 endocrine glands, which are the 8 chakras of the body, programming our consciousness. These sound and light signals transmit through our body through the layers of liquid crystal making up the lattice, through which genetic signaling occurs via photons. These electrical signals are sent via your 12 cranial nerves throughout your central nervous system in the form of ions. The chemicals which are produced by the body are based upon the frequencies of the photons, influencing how many atoms will bond together to make specific molecules, thus creating the various chemicals that are produced by one's endocrine glands, also known as the 8-chakra system, triggering your body's 8-chakra endocrine gland system to produce the select chemicals based upon your natal chart, thus influencing your mind and body. This process is further explained through thermodynamics. The geometric source of the 8-chakra system is based on the structure of the egg of life, the same energy pattern as the original 8 cells in the human body. The original 8 cells, the 8-chakra system, and the 8 internal electric circuits of the human body seen in Chinese medicine are all related to the star tetrahedron. However, the top 3 chakras pertaining to the top 3 sephiros in the brain, corresponding to the left and right hemisphere and front of the neocortex. The 8-chakra system can be visualized by visualizing the egg of life, disconnected and placing all the spheres into a chain. The first chakra is near the base of the spine. The second one is 7.23 centimeters higher topographically, and the third one is 7.23 centimeters higher than that. Each chakra is activated daily at certain times as a planetary frequency is poured through the orbit of the lunar mansions, encoding your DNA and affecting your consciousness. Chakras govern and rule consciousness. All of the various planetary frequencies are filtered to our earthly plane through the moon, which has been proven by a recent study conducted by Michael Zemecki of the Polish Academy of Sciences. Zemecki sought to determine the relationship between human DNA and cosmic circadian rhythms, stress, and organism development. The study determined that lunar cycles and light frequencies impacted at least 6 genes responsible for protein synthesis, organism metabolism, genetic repair, and healing. He also found that the lunar cycle has an impact on human reproduction, in particular fertility, menstruation, birth rate, sleep patterns, blood pressure, and most of all, psychology, as the release of neurohormones is triggered by the electromagnetic radiation of the moon, which is revealed through the planetary beacons of the 36 lunar mansions. This information explains why human and animal physiology are subject to seasonal, lunar, and circadian rhythms. The planets in our solar system influence the DNA of people exactly like a digital download, which is the underlying principle of our hydrosonic quantum holographic reality in bodies. We receive these cosmic frequencies from the moon when we reach certain brain wavelengths and or while dreaming while we sleep. Each planet is allotted to rule at a certain time in your life. As each planet is a chakra in your body, it is important to know when that planet will affect you and how that planetary influence will have upon you. Astrology, which is the science of consciousness, details as to how each of the planets in our solar system rule a portion of our lives, as said by the great astrologer of antiquity, Al-Kabisi. The rule of the planets in human life is distributed thusly. The moon begins from the fetus's going out from the womb, and she manages according to the quantity of the years of nourishment, which are 4 years, then Mercury for 10 after this, then Venus for 8, the Sun for 19, after this Mars for 15, after this Jupiter for 12, after this Saturn up to the end of life. Hence the moon rules the years of infancy, Mercury childhood, Venus the teen years, the Sun your first adult phase, Mars your second adult phase, Jupiter your first senior period, and Saturn your old age. And what is the point of this information? The point is to live in harmony with the cosmos via your 36 lunar mansions, as that is the true secret that is encoded in the book of the 5 books of Moses, is to live in harmony with all the spheres so you can be whole. And you do that via the 36 lunar mansions, and also there's more advanced methods of using gemstones that correspond with each zodiacal sign, so you can first off meet the angels that create you, so you know this information is revolutionary and evolutionary, because people will know and have the proof that they're looking for, that God does exist, that He loves you unconditionally, and each person has their own divine connection. And what we're supposed to do is just to live in harmony and maximize our potential, as this is really and truly what God wants. God who is Ehyeh. So that's it for now, guys.